guys, this is Mr. Joshy J, and this is your review of the Formula 1 2020 British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Now, at the start of the race, it was very boring, but towards the end, my goodness sake, I have never ever, in all my years in F1, saw an ending like that. Unbelievable. So right, at the start of the race, Hamilton was on pole, Bottas second, Max Verstappen third, and Charles Leclerc fourth in the Ferrari. Yep, so Hamilton got off the line, looked a bit of a sluggish getaway, but the second part of the start, he got spot on because he's able to keep Bottas at bay. And then there's contact between Kevin Magnussen and Alex Albon in the Red Bull. Albon had to make a pit stop because obviously he had damage to the car. And then the full safety car came out, so everyone was bunched up. Race restarted. Hamilton got away from Bottas well. And then later on, Danny Kiat with a horrific crash, but thankfully he's okay in his AlphaTauri. Brought out another full safety car, and then Hamilton once again got away from Bottas, and then it was looking comfortable for Lewis Hamilton. But then towards the end of the Grand Prix, the unthinkable just happens for both of the Mercedes, like that. Tyre vibration. First of all, they showed Bottas puncture. Yet Bottas suffered a puncture, so had to come in the pits, and unfortunately for him, finished outside the points. Then on the final lap, Lewis Hamilton's tyre blew as well. I was like, oh my god, what's going on? I never saw anything like this. I can remember back in 2013, there was a lot of Pirelli tyre failures at Silverstone. What is it with Silverstone and Pirelli? They just don't mix together for some reason. Wow, unbelievable. But before Hamilton had his puncture, Carlos Sainz in the McLaren had a puncture as well. He's like, what is going on here? It was dramatic. Unfortunate for Carlos Sainz because he was quite high up. But because he had the puncture, his teammate Lando Norris ended up finishing 5th for McLaren, which is absolutely fantastic. So Hamilton, his tyre blew, and my goodness me, how he got that to the finish line and stayed in front. Unbelievable. Because if Red Bull didn't pit, then Max Verstappen would have ended up winning that race. So thankfully for Lewis, because Max Verstappen come in because he felt tyre vibration. Red Bull thought, right, it's best if you change your tyres. So he changed his tyres, and that's how Lewis Hamilton was still able to cross the finish line on 3 wheels and win the British Grand Prix. My goodness me, in all my years watching F1, I've never ever saw a finish like that. Unbelievable stuff. It was pretty much a boring race, very boring, until the last 3 laps of the Grand Prix. Then all of a sudden you had Tyres Galore exploding. Mad, absolute mad. But congratulations to Lewis Hamilton, his 7th victory at Silverstone. He has now won the British Grand Prix more than any other driver. Unbelievable. Lewis Hamilton just keeps breaking these records. And Bottas finishing outside the points. How damaging for him to be 30 points behind Lewis Hamilton 4 races into the season. That is a massive gap to claw back for Bottas. You have to feel really sorry for him. But you feel now Lewis Hamilton is well and truly on his way to equaling Michael Schumacher's record of 7 world titles. I mean, the Mercedes is just in their league in their own. Over a second quicker than the Red Bull in qualifying yesterday. My goodness me. And Lewis Hamilton even made a mistake in qualifying. span the car, but still was able to take pole position. He's just an amazing driver, Lewis Hamilton is. I mean, Hamilton, of course, he's going to have his haters that you can say all you like about Hamilton. He is one of the best F1 drivers in the world. Yep, absolutely he is. And so, yep, very boring race. So the race itself, I'm probably going to give it, well, 3 out of 10. If we didn't have that drama in the end, it would have been a 1 out of 10. Poor Grand Prix. I mean, it was very strange without the fans, Silverstone, one of the best circuits to fans, and they weren't there. Unbelievable. Nico Hülkenberg in the racing point. How unfortunate can you get, He lost his drive last season, and this weekend's called back in to cover Sergio Perez, who tested positive for the virus, which thankfully he is recovering, Sergio Perez, but I don't think he'll be back for next weekend, because now they say you have to isolate for 10 days if you got any of the symptoms or you got a positive test. So, yep, but for Nico Hülkenberg, I was gutted for him due to a clutch bolt being stuck inside the engine. That's why the internal combustion engine just wouldn't fire up on his Mercedes power unit. So, unfortunately for Nico Hülkenberg, it wasn't a DNF, it was a DNS. Did not start. Unbelievable bad luck for Nico Hülkenberg. That really is devastating, because Racing Points look mighty. So, would have been nice to see what Nico Hülkenberg could have done, but sadly, not to be. Roman Grosjean in the Haas got a warning for moving position too often and nearly forcing another car off track. Carlos Sainz was furious on the team radio, because that was stupid by Roman Grosjean. That really was. No wonder why he got a warning, the black and white flag, asking him not to do that again, otherwise you're going to be disqualified. Shocking from Roman Grosjean. Sebastian Vettel, horrible weekend to him in the Ferrari. Poor weekend. Alex Albon in the Red Bull, another poor weekend to him. He really is under pressure, Alex Albon in the Red Bull. Right, let's get on to the driver ratings and team ratings. Lewis Hamilton, 10 out of 10. I mean, how can you not give Lewis Hamilton 10 out of 10? Pole position, brought the car back home on 3 wheels on the last lap of the Grand Prix and still won the race. Unbelievable. Valtteri Bottas, 7 out of 10. I thought it was a decent weekend for Valtteri Bottas until he had that puncture. So unfortunate to finish outside the points. Max Verstappen, Red Bull, 9 out of 10. Yep, best of the rest. If it wasn't for that puncture, he probably would have finished third, but because Bottas had that puncture, Bottas finished second. Alex Albon, 3 out of 10. Horrible weekends for Alex Albon. Had contacts with Kevin Magnussen at the start. Just really got to sort himself out, Kevin Magnussen. He really has. No, sorry, Alex Albon. Kevin Magnussen drives the Haas. Sorry about that. Charles Leclerc, 7 out of 10. Really good qualifying for him. Brought the Ferrari home in P4 in qualifying. And in the race, P3, because of Valtteri Bottas' puncture. So again, Charles Leclerc, very lucky to be on the podium. But again, at the right place at the right time. So give credit to Charles Leclerc. Sebastian Vettel, 1 out of 10. Horrific weekend to him. Had a poor practice session, problem with the pedals, struggled in qualifying, absolutely nowhere in the race. Very lucky to get a point because of all the drama, what happened in the end. 10th was Sebastian Vettel in the race, so that's why he's getting a 1 out of 10. Daniel Ricciardo in the Renault, 7 out of 10. Really good weekend for him. And Esteban Ocon in the Renault, 7 out of 10. Good weekend for him as well. McLaren, Lando Norris, 7 out of 10. Did really well to finish P5. Carlos Sainz, 7 out of 10. So unlucky to have that puncture near the end. He really was. AlphaTauri, Danny Kvyat, 6 out of 10. Was doing okay until he had that horrific crash. Pierre Gasly, 7 out of 10. Decent weekend for him as well. Haas, Roman Grosjean, 3 out of 10. Just not a great weekend for him because kept weaving, very dangerous, and that could have been caused a nasty accident if he kept changing direction. Kevin Magnussen, 6 out of 10. Can't really mark him much because he was out of the race very early, was Kevin Magnussen. Racing points. Nico Hülkenberg, despite not starting the race, I'm going to give him 7 out of 10 because he was really good in qualifying. Lance Stroll in the Racing Point, 5 out of 10. Bit of a disappointing weekend for him and for Racing Points because their car has so much potential and it was absolutely nowhere. Right, Alfa Romeo, Kimi Räikkönen, 1 out of 10. Horrific weekend for him. The slowest car, Racing Point, the Alfa Romeo, even got overtaken by the Williams of George Russell. Poor weekend for Kimi Räikkönen. Antonio Giovinazzi, 2 out of 10. Again, just gutless from Alfa Romeo. Williams, George Russell, 7 out of 10. Good qualifying, but was penalised because he didn't slow down under yellow flags. But apart from that, a decent weekend for George Russell. Latifi, 4 out of 10. Not the best weekends for him. So, right. Team ratings. Mercedes, 10 out of 10. Well, just absolutely fantastic again by Mercedes. Red Bull, 8 out of 10. Very good weekend for them. Ferrari, well, due to Sebastian Vettel's poor weekends, you're going to have to mark them down a bit. 6 out of 10. Yep, Renault, 7 out of 10. Really good weekend for them. AlphaTauri, 6 out of 10. Decent weekend for them. Haas, I'm going to have to give 4 out of 10. Not the best weekend for them. Renault, 7 out of 10. Good weekend for them. McLaren, 7 out of 10. Really good weekend for them. Alfa Romeo, 1 out of 10. Horrific weekend for the Alfa Romeo racing. Yep. And last but not least, Williams, I'll give 5 out of 10. Could have been a bit better for them, but overall not a bad weekend. Right, race review done. Join me this week where I do another best Manchester United rants from this season. Stay tuned on that, and I'll see you for a preview to the Manchester United versus Lask game this week. And also, I'll see you for a preview for the 70th anniversary F1 race at Silverstone again. Yep, in a week's time, we go again at Silverstone. Can't wait. Bye-bye.